Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Business Breakthrough Google Hangout. It's Glenn Dietzel here, live from our international office. And I want to welcome you officially to this Business Breakthrough Google Hangout. Many of you are new to our Business Breakthrough Google Hangouts that we run every week. And many of you are coming to us because you are reading a Lifestyle Entrepreneur magazine. You're a subscriber to the magazine. I want to welcome you. Many of you are following us through many of our channels that we've created online, and I want to welcome you. I've been in the online world running our company. I can run my company anywhere in the world today, which I'm really excited about. And I've worked very hard and also very smart by failing forward as quickly as possible to bring you these Business Breakthrough Google Hangouts, which are sponsored by Lifestyle Entrepreneur magazine. So we're going to cover a lot here today, so you want to make sure that you have pen and paper ready. You probably also want to have maybe some markers so you can jot down a few diagrams here, because you know that if you've been a part of our Business Breakthrough Google Hangouts for any period of time, I do love diagrams. Today, I'd like to help you unthaw your business momentum, all right? It's unthawing here. It's springtime. Well, it's early spring. It is around early to mid 40s here today at our international office and at the Canadian Lake home. And everything's melting here. It's a nice sunny day. And I thought what a great time to speak to you about unthawing your business momentum and helping you create a true breakthrough today. And I want to uncover with you what I've learned. You don't need to invest in my failures. I just want to you to invest in my successes. And you're making an investment in your time. Many of you are investing your money in our programs and our services and the mentoring that I do. And I want to welcome you that are new to our program. An official welcome to working with me. And we are going to be doing a lot together in 2015. I've got the perfect business breakthrough, business acceleration systems that are intertwined with accelerated teaching and learning to help you not only create massive business breakthroughs in your own company, but really focusing on acceleration and accelerating cash flow and creating better organizing principles so that you've got a business that you can truly sell at the end of the day, or have a lot of different assets within your company that you can leverage and get into multiple markets very quickly, faster than your competitors. So with that being said, I want to help you unthaw your momentum. That's our thesis. And I want to show you what it looks like here at the Canadian Lake home. And this was a picture here at the Canadian Lake home last night. And you'll see the Lake Huron still is no evidence of thawing. And we want to, but it is thawing. And I want to show you how to thaw and unthaw what you're doing, or unfreeze, I guess, thaw what you're doing, but doing it at an accelerated rate so you can enjoy summer in your business, because winter in business is really no fun, right? And there is a winter season in everybody's business. At every step, there is a winter season. I mean, as we grow our company, it's been scaling, but there are winter seasons. There's times that to prevent us imploding, we've had to close things down or slow things down, and we've had to regroup legally and with our company and put together and regroup some of our systems so that we can continue to grow at accelerated rates. So I want to help you do the very same thing. And the first concept or principle that I want to relay to you is that status is the greatest initiator of human behavior. And I'm going to take you on a journey today in terms of what I've done, going back 11 years in business to create the kind of momentum that we've been able to leverage 11 years later. And 11 years ago, I realized that status, and that's why I'm writing this or giving this to you, status is the greatest initiator of human behavior. And it is, if you look at what inspires or what compels your potential candidates or your clients to move forward with you, there are six motivators of desire, and status is the number one motivator of desire. Going back 11 years ago, I realized that status must be bidirectional. Status must be bidirectional. And what I mean by that is that you need to have status, and that what your clients are investing in your programs and services must provide them status. All right, so you must have status, and you must provide your clients status. And if you can do that, and you can do this really well, it will allow you to accelerate very, very quickly. So 11 years ago, when I was the youngest vice principal of an elementary school, well, going back now, I was a VP for 6 years, but going back 11 years ago, it was in my 6th year as being a vice principal, and everybody was expecting me to fast track it into senior administration. I didn't want to do that. And I got tired of following other people's goals and dreams for my life. And I started looking at and evaluating time. And we're going to talk about time today. We're going to revisit status, but I want to give you a couple of these principles that were really big in my life. And I realized 11 years ago that the enemy of all deals is time. The enemy of all deals is time. All right, so write that down, because these are driving principles that allowed me to start, or caused me to start, rethinking what I was doing, how I was executing, and the importance of creating a quantum leap in my own life, because I realized that incremental growth way back 11 years ago was not going to inspire me to get out of my job and my wife out of her job as an occupational therapist. And another law that we're going to revisit that I've commented on recently, and many of you have commented on, is the law of irrelevancy. The law of irrelevancy. And the law of irrelevancy is particularly relevant in today's market, because the law of irrelevancy says that, and I'm going to frame it a little different way, the average person today has 80,000 thoughts. So if we look at your products, your services, from the standpoint of your potential candidates have 80,000 thoughts a day. Now, out of those 80,000 thoughts, 8,000 of those are marketing messages, roughly, okay? Out of those 8,000 marketing messages, your candidates for your programs and services are filtering in about 80 messages that are getting into the subconscious, all right? And out of those 80 messages into the subconscious, around 15 to 40, depending on the day, and a lot of different data that I could present here to you, but about 15 to 40 are getting into the conscious mind every day. So your ideal candidates are considering, on average, each day, somewhere between 15 and 40 messages consciously. So they might be considering your program and services, maybe a competitor's program and service, maybe a television show, something they want to really do with their life, a vacation that they have going on, kids that they have, etc. And so you are competing against a lot of messages. And if we did the math, out of the 80,000 thoughts, and your chance of being heard somewhere between 15 and 40 out of those 80,000 thoughts comes out to a number around 0.00035. That's your chance of being heard in today's market. Okay. And going back 11 years ago, when I was incredibly indecisive, I was overthinking. I was definitely, I believe that procrastination is the byproduct of overthinking. And I was definitely, I call that trifecta of just being held hostage to systems, thinking, processes, inner voices, a Q&A session that runs in your subconscious mind that holds you hostage to your greatness, your legacy, and taking the kind of action that's going to allow you to transcend above this trifecta of inactivity. So indecisiveness, overthinking, and procrastination, not predestination. All right. So what I realized back then And these systems have all been codified into a really cool arsenal of tools that help our clients to close deals. And I'm going to show you one of these here and what I did 11 years ago in just a second. But I realized that I needed to shock the system. I needed to shock myself out of my comatose-like state. And more importantly, I needed to shock my potential candidates out of their comatose-like state. And you need to do the very same thing. So just as status is bi-directional, you've got to have status and you've got to help your clients achieve status, because status is the #1 driver of human behavior. It's the #1 motive that drives desire, and desire is behind all human initiative. So your potential candidates, if we think of it in that way. And so we want to be able to, and I realized that I needed to be able to shock the system. All right, so want to show you just a few things here, and we'll leave the thawing out of Lake Huron here at the Canadian Lake Home. And what I'm going to show you today has allowed me 11 years ago, this August the 4th. In fact, I was actually able to get out of my job in June, but my contract wasn't over as a vice principal until August 2014. But this is my letter of resignation to the superintendent of the Lambton Kent District School Board. And I wrote this letter, and I want to challenge all of you right now to write a letter of resignation. What are you going to resign yourself to? What's the big thing that's holding you back in life? And for me, it was my job. So I wrote this letter: Dear Gail Stuka, I wish to tender my resignation from the board effective August 2014. I've appreciated the opportunity to work with the Lambton Kent District School Board for the last 14 years, 8 as a classroom teacher, 6 as a vice principal. And I signed off on it. Now, I wrote that letter in February 17th of 2014. My company was beginning to accelerate. And I realized that, hey, you know what? I wanted to honor and we had replaced, I had replaced my income and my wife's income. But I had to finish off the school year, which was the end of June 2004. And then my contract was legally over the end of August, the last day in August 2004. So I wrote that letter. I had it all ready, and I gave it out to the superintendent in May of 2004. So I want to encourage all of you right now to write a letter of resignation. It's very powerful. And I want you to look ahead at what it is that you need to resign yourself to right now, with an eye towards what is it that's really holding you back. And the whole metaphor of a job and everything that I had with a job was holding me back. In fact, because I wrote that letter, our company flag today sits on top of Mount Everest. This is a picture. Our company flag, one of my clients ascended Mount Everest May 20th of 2011. So that was almost 4 years ago now. And our company flag sits on the top of Mount Everest. And that was the Sherpa that went up with one of my clients. And we've been able to assist thousands of clients all over the world, hundreds of video case studies. In fact, we have a documentary coming out. And what I want to share with you today is how I was able to just rocket out of my job and replace my income and my wife's income in 87 days. And most importantly, create a foundation for building accelerated cash flow. And I want you to, instead of focusing on money and focus on relaxing. And through this process that I'm going to show you here today. And this was the school that I wrote this letter. I wrote it after a day, a horrible day at school where I was caught in bureaucracy. This is the last school that I was at, Johnson Memorial Public School, which has now since been knocked down and another school built. But this was the school that I was a vice principal at, and I wrote that letter of resignation. And why this is so powerful is that school was literally and metaphorically holding me back from really creating a massive paradigm shift in my own life. And I needed something that would shock myself out of the comatose-like state of doing the same thing day after day after day. And from the standpoint of a job, and from the standpoint of just doing activities that were robbing me of what I really wanted to be doing in life. So first thing that I did was I wanted to take this concept of creating a better organizing principle, and I want to share with you two systems here today. First of all is how to analyze your value. All right, and we created some very cool systems around how to analyze our clients' value. In fact, it's all outlined and systematized in our ultimate offer formula program that all of our clients get, which really helps clients think through value-based selling, education-based selling, and help them put all the tools and systems together that has allowed my clients today to close deals in 10, 15 minutes, high-end coaching consulting deals, and that allows them to really create an ROIT business. So how do you create and analyze your value? Well, I want to show you this here right now. And I put this together 11 years ago, and we've since now built a lot of systems and processes on this. But who you are, so I want you to just quickly jot this down. You want to focus on, first of all, who you are, which is really the domain of self-awareness. And if you think of what it means to be human today, there needs to be a component of being human involves self-awareness, it involves self-realization, and self-actualization. So I wanted to put a system together that was meaningful to me and what I believed, as you're going to see the program that I put together, and that got us massive traction. I'm going to show you how to do this really quickly. And I'm going to break this all down for you because I want to help you get out of your own comatose-like state. So going back here then, self-awareness, all right? Who you are is critical in business, okay? So you got to know who you are. And that we've created all kinds of systems around developing brand value, USPs, market differentiation around all this. And I'm not going to break all of our systems down in this area. Next, you want to know what you do. That's critical. That's the IP area, the intellectual property area. And I also call that the self-realization area. This is the area of knowing, of creating really some momentum for yourself immediately in the area of activity and momentum. And then finally, self-actualization. When plus how you execute is critical in today's market. When you do something and how you do it is absolutely crucial in building your value in today's marketplace. All right. So I just show you that because it's crucial that as you grow your company, that it's got to be tied into those three distinct areas, but they've got to overlap. And so many entrepreneurs, remember the gentleman looking up in the sky at the dollar sign in the clouds? So many people today are looking at the wrong area of business. And yes, business is about making money, and it's about cash flow, and it's about increasing profit margins, and it's about scaling the size and number of your deals, because that's really what business is all about. At the end of the day, it's just about creating your first profitable business transaction and then leveraging the size and number of those transactions. So I want to take you through how I created the platform for my very first business transaction. Remember on previous Google training, Google Hangout training, and if you've been watching a lot of my clients that I've been interviewing on our Google Hangouts, we've talked about the necessity of building momentum and building everything that you do and creating everything that you do inside of momentum. Okay, so what most people teach around creating an expert guru platform today simply doesn't allow or create momentum. And it's absolutely critical to your business success that you have momentum. And going back 11 years ago, I realized I had to have momentum. In order to create momentum for your business then, you want to focus on what I call goal activators. Okay, goal activators or achievement activators. So you want to write this down. I believe that the problem with most goal setting today is that goal setting is done within the confines of a person's paradigm of success. And there's no real stretching for goal setting. So people are taught, to set goals, set realistic goals, make them smart. And we can go through all of that. And there's some definitely validity to SMART goals, the acronym SMART, etc. But I wanted acceleration way back 11 years ago. And in today's marketplace, it's all around acceleration, because if you can't get over the law of irrelevancy, and you've got a 0.00035 chance of being heard in today's market. And as I mentioned here a few minutes ago, these numbers and the realities of today's marketplace are causing more and more coaches, consultants, and trainers and business owners to fail and to lose market share, because it's no longer the big that eats the small. You see, the big could eat the small through incremental growth. The realities in today's marketplace is the fast that consume the slow. You've got to be able to create quantum leaps. You've got to create accelerated growth. All right. So when we talk about then focusing on goal activators, here's what I mean. I mean, if we break down goal setting into 3 types of goals. All right. And so my first rule in goal setting is that you should be close to the source of momentum. That is, you should be with a mentor or somebody that can help you see, a consultant, mentor, that can help you see something that you don't see right now with your business. That's crucial. You've got to be able to position yourself at the forefront of what's going on in your industry right now. So I want to caution you and exhort you to re-examine what you're doing in business. And this is the kind of conversation that I had with myself 11 years ago, and the conversations that I have with myself every single day, because you want to begin to start repeating newer and faster conversations with yourself, right? Then you want to repeat those newer and faster conversations in the marketplace. And then you want to create business acceleration systems that allow you to create newer and faster conversations. And that's really how I would define accelerated teaching, accelerated learning. And that was one of my specialties when I was a teacher. So if we break down these 3 types of goals, what we're talking about then is working goals plus short-term goals plus long-term goals. Now, I want to redefine it a little bit differently, okay? So we've got working plus short-term plus long-term goals. Let's take a look at it now from a goal activator standpoint, all right? And what we're talking about then is focusing on goal activators that are going to drive profit goals, okay? Remember I said take the focus off of profits. We always want to have, we want to have definitely an eye toward profit, but we want to center our attention on goal activators. What is going to drive profit goals? And what can we do as we're building our goal activators to drive profit goals that are going to drive long-term strategic goals? So we're not doing things that are taking away our momentum immediately. And many business owners are doing this today. They're writing books, and I'm not against authoring a book. Please, I'm going to just show you a couple of systems here that we are a huge proponent of authoring. The problem is I never recommend that somebody writes a book until they know how to have the systems and tools to be able to command maximum fees and royalties for coaching, consulting, and training programs. Once you have that, now you've got a true ROIT business. Now you have the profit margins. Now you've got the kind of influence in your market. Now you know what should go specifically within a book, and you're going to use a book only for very specific purposes in the post-information age in which we live. So if we take a look at what I just showed you, really the diagram looks like this. Goal activators. So we want to think at 3 levels. We want to think highly strategically. Goal activators that drive profit margins, but there's also an overlap in all the goal activators, and I'm going to take you through an example here, and that also bring long-term strategic goals. So we're going to build goal activators, okay, and that are going to drive profit goals and also going to create long-term strategic goals. All right. And this is the area, the mutually inclusive area here that we're going to be focusing on, okay? And that's going to allow you to go from making little money to making lots of money with your company if you simply know how to create the right goal activators. Now, let me give you an example, all right? And I want to take you through for the next few moments here what I did 11 years ago to replace my income as a vice principal of an elementary school and my wife's income as an occupational therapist and what has allowed us to grow our company today at an accelerated rate, to break through the 5-year barrier, the 10-year barrier in business. And in many circles, very specific circles, I'm known as an insider in the industry. I don't do a lot of speaking anymore. My company is growing too quickly, and I've got a lot of things going on. And my focus is on my clients, my family, and we've got an amazing business where I can run it anywhere in the world. And I want you to do the very same thing. Okay? So 11 years ago, I realized that I need a better organizing principle than my competitors. And so do you. Okay, so as you start thinking through your intellectual property, remember that was what you do. That was the self-realization circle. You want to have a better organizing principle than your competitors that allow you to execute and focus faster than your competitors. So you want to be able to create these kind of goal activators. Now, let me just show you a couple of things that I did 11 years ago, okay? And then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to take you through step by step some of the goal activators that I want to get you thinking through a lot more strategically. Remember our 3 Ps? We want to think from the standpoint of positioning, what it is that you do, create a better way of packaging. There's a second P, your intellectual property, and the third P, a better plan of execution. All right. So let me take you back here. I was able to launch myself out of the school. I put together one of the very first ebook authoring programs here. And this was one of the many programs that we ended up creating myself. And I hired out a retired principal with my school board, Paul. And he started assisting me in the mentoring of the intellectual property that I created for our company. And so we wrote put together a definitive guide to ebook authoring. And this was one of the systems that we quickly put together, our entrepreneurial authoring mastermind coaching program that really assisted clients to fast write their book in 12 hours. We guaranteed them instant access to a New York publisher. So we had all kinds of alliance partners that came to me, all because we started thinking systematically and a better organizing principle than what our competitors were doing at that time. All right. And that allowed me to get recognized by Adobe within 5 weeks of launching our very first ebook authoring program, etc. So let's take a look at what I wrote down. I wrote down the letter of resignation to the superintendent, or to, at that time, to the director of education, or to my superintendent, who actually became the director of education with my school board a year later, Gail Stuka. And it was the best letter I ever wrote. And when I wrote it in February 11 years ago and then actually gave it to my school board, I had a meeting with my own personal superintendent, and to hand her that letter of resignation was one of the most self-fulfilling prophecies. Just one of those surreal moments in my life. And when you see my clients and you're getting a chance to watch what they're doing, and those of you that are new to our program, our Omega Mind program, or my Inner Circle program, or our Certification Royalty Riches program, you've got some. I'm just so excited for you, because you're going to be able to, just like my clients are, and I've been interviewing them, hundreds of them. Nobody else has this level of social proof, a level of case studies. And I just love sharing my client success, because it gives those that I'm vetting a chance to live vicariously through my clients, so they can see what kind of quantum leaps they could achieve and will achieve in our programs in their own industry. So along with writing that letter of resignation, I put together, as I mentioned, these goal activators, all right? And I wrote out some profit goals and some long-term strategic goals. But I really wanted to focus on goal activators that would get me out of my comatose-like state, and that would propel me forward and create massive change in my life. And so most companies, most business owners, most coaches, consultants, and trainers are focused on selling more programs, and they're all focused on what I would call really level 2 of goal setting. and that's focusing on profit. And instead, I took the pressure off myself and I created some pretty cool tools and systems that we've since in 11 years put very accelerated business processes around, etc. But I wanted to focus on what would assist me to stay really zeroed in and focused and keep me out of the trifecta of pain, of being held hostage to massive momentum. And that was indecisiveness, overthinking, and procrastination. And so these are the kinds of goal activators that I wrote down. At the same time, I wrote down or wrote my letter of resignation to my superintendent of my school. First of all, I wanted to create and reach out to alliance partners with proposals. Now, we don't use proposals anymore. Back then, I wasn't smart enough. We've created a really cool system using executive summaries, a whole really powerful consultative process. But back then, I wasn't as smart as I was now. I hadn't failed as many times as I had now. And those of you that are new to our programs, by the way, you don't have to pay for my failures. You're only investing in my successes. And I've invested millions and millions of dollars in coaching myself, and millions and millions of dollars back into my own company to be able to build our company in the rapidity that I have. So going back here, I wanted to focus on media and corporations, specifically Fortune 500 companies. All right. So that was one of my goal activators. How can I create newer and faster conversations with myself? Because I knew if I could start doing that and do that every day, that would keep me, even though I was still, as a vice principal and a young father and a husband and many responsibilities, so easy to drown out what you really wanted to be doing. I needed a way of zeroing in. So I created a proposal. All right. These are some of the goal activators. I created a proposal. All right. I created value like I just showed you. All right. Now, associated with this value that I created, if we go back here, this master plan here, we created, this is Chip and this is Doodle. All right. They were on our ebook covering graphic. And this is what I actually showed you here, because the next step was to create some branding, some IP. And so Chip represented the technological aspects of ebook authoring, and Doodle represented how to get a book done quickly, 100 pages in less than 12 hours. And that's all leveraging our accelerated business, accelerated learning. So some of the other goal activators, I knew that if I just focused on these every single day, was focused on getting email addresses and following up with potential alliance partners, both from corporate Fortune 500 companies and from the media. And something else that I did was I realized that in order to create status for myself, and that's why I started off with status today. Status is bi-directional, as you know. And if you missed that, you want to make sure you review your notes on creating status. But I made alliance partners qualify themselves to work with me, okay? Especially with the media on my side. Now, here's what I did. I realized way back that it's actually pretty easy to get media attention if I could think through a little bit differently. So back when we put together one of the very first ebook authoring programs, I found articles in newspapers. And I found a really good article from a syndicated columnist that happened to be out of LA, Los Angeles, and Southern California, which I'm sure most of you know where Los Angeles is located. So I reached out to the journalist that wrote the article. He was a syndicated columnist, and he was writing in the area of tech. And I reached out to him and said, listen, I just put together one of the very first ebook authoring programs. We've been recognized by Adobe, and that created some instant leverage with the syndicated columnist. So that's why you want to, again, you've got to think in a way of a better organizing principle. And I got this, because I was working, fast tracking my way up to in administration and education. I was realizing if I want to stand out among all the other administrators, I've got to be able to create some status for myself. I've got to be able to create a level of accomplishments faster than what those that were going up the corporate ladder with me. So a part of my allure was the fact that I was so young. And part of my allure was I created some very cool accelerated teaching and learning systems that teachers still today leverage globally. And that created some very cool traction. And I leveraged assessment instruments and some other things. So I started putting those tools together. We got recognized by Adobe as one of the very first ebook authoring programs. And I took that to a syndicated columnist and said, listen, I don't want you to feature me. And yes, I did. But I told him, I'm not here for you to feature me, and I don't have a media release or anything like that. And I'm not against sending media releases out. So hear me clearly. I just wanted to do what my competitors weren't doing. You remember the SEMA success? Do what others don't do, can't do, or wouldn't think of doing. Do what others don't do, can't do, or wouldn't think of doing. So I reached out to this media connection. So listen, I'd like to help you with any research that you've got going on. Further in the area of ebook technology, it'll save you a lot of time. I'm an expert in this industry. I never made $1, by the way, with my business at that point. And so I took the pressure off making money. I just wanted to create newer and faster conversations, fewer and bigger conversations with fewer and better people. All right. And that was it became one of our speed to market principles. So this columnist, syndicated columnist, said, listen, send me a few things and we can stay in touch. So I stayed in touch, sent him, some of what we were doing. I hardly sent him anything. Just having a better conversation than my competitors, being a person of resource, of value. With 3 weeks later, got a phone call and said, Glenn, I've just partnered with Leo Laporte, who at that time was running the #1 how-to cable show across North America. And they were taking their how-to cable show out of Southern California up to Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which is 2.5 hours from us, and asked me to be on the show. And from that, I was able to get media attention. And from all that media attention, we were able to really begin to explode our company. And that's what I mean by creating newer and faster conversations. And in fact, we grew our company within a few weeks so fast, I was able to replace my income as a vice principal, my wife's income as an OT. We were able to, all of a sudden I had corporations paying within 6 months, $50,000 for coaching, consulting programs. I was learning, then they were hiring me back to pitch deals. We turned that into $100,000 programs. And that's how we built our company. So some of the other goal activators then, we're creating a couple of fun characters called Chip and Doodle, like I just said. We created an accountability. I created for myself an accountability transaction form, which has now become a program for our clients. And that was this here. I kind of had forwarded, missed Chip and Doodle. But if you see here, it's probably hard to see, but newer and faster conversations in the market. And this is a template that I used to begin to track the conversations that I was having, the person's name, initial conversation, time to talk, the action taken, follow up, what the deal value would be. And I created a cool point system because I realized back then that if I wasn't able to compete against myself and put together something that would cause me to compete, by the way, it's critical you understand this because all the research today has shown that only those coaches, consultants, and trainers, there's 8 variables that will assist somebody to know if he or she will be successful in coaching, consulting, and training. And one of them is not just being competitive, but being competitive, or not just being competitive with yourself, but being competitive with others. And you've got to be able to do it. So in order to compete with others and have others compare themselves to you, so you're not competing with others, remember that kind of reorienting our focus. We've covered that on a recent Business Breakthrough Google Hangout. You want to have others competing or focused on you and competing against you, and in a way where they can't really understand what it is that you're doing. Why? Because you're following our 3-level system of creating goals. So those were some of the goal activators, and really the critical ones that I focused on early in my business when I was an educator. And by focusing on those and getting away from focusing on profit, I knew that if I just focused on those, and that the business would grow and that money would follow if I focused on goal activators. So I want to encourage you, in summary here today, taking a look at your value like I shared with you today. And I shared with you a unique system on how to analyze your value. and looking at, remember the importance of status, the importance of creating momentum, the importance of creating for yourself change, but change that allows you to compete and keeps you in the game every single day, so where you don't lose focus, where you are able to trump indecisiveness, overthinking, procrastination. And really, if you want the best definition of procrastination that I know, it's not that you're not going to do something, but you're going to do it tomorrow. The only way that I was able to get myself out of my job really quickly was following the two systems that I just shared with you, with a focus on this whole area of goal activation. But goal activation that wasn't done separately, but was done with the view towards profit goals and long-term strategic goals. And today we've built our long-term strategic goals, overlapping goal activators and profit goals with our clients to be able to command maximum fees and royalties for high-end coaching, consulting, and training. And if you don't have it, you're going to lose to somebody that does, because they literally have created more time for their business. And when you have more time and your profit margins are higher and your deals are bigger, those are the companies that are going to win today. And I want to encourage you to refocus and re-execute and commit yourself to doing that. Everything is around creating newer and faster conversations. And we've had a number of people that have been disappointed that they missed the cutoff for the last consultative process that we are vetting potential candidates for our programs. And I've spent Saturday here because we're going to be going away as a family shortly, and we're in the process early this week of vetting the remaining candidates for our programs. And we have actually a 3-step vetting process. Most people don't qualify, and that's why we do set up a qualification process. And but if you would like to be considered, because I know that there's been some resistance from some of you that have been traveling or you've been on vacation, and you are a decisive decision maker, you are a quick thinker, you are a fast implementer, and you think you've got what it takes to qualify yourself to work and have access to the intellectual property that I've spent 12 years creating, well over 11,000 hours in over 120 industries. All of our systems are proprietary. If you would like to be considered for that, I'll give you an opportunity to go to newgurumodel.com/do-you-qualify, newgurumodel.com/do-you-qualify, and you can apply, and perhaps our paths will cross sooner than you think. All of our candidates are always vetted directly by me. I don't use sales teams. I don't use any of the I don't use the advice that most leaders in coaching, consulting, and trainers do today, and they're losing market share today. Why? Because they don't know how to leverage their IP into dozens and hundreds of different industries, leveraging their clients and leveraging their IP that allows them to create our royalties, coaching, consulting, and training royalties. So if you understand what I'm talking about, you can go to the Do You Qualify page at newgurumodel.com and look forward to potentially talking with you and assisting you to appropriate what we've been covering on our Business Breakthrough Google Hangouts directly into your business. And most importantly, showing you hundreds and hundreds of tools, blueprints, coaching agreements, templates that all my clients use, because I believe that modeling is the #1 way that we learn, to assist you in the area of accelerated teaching and learning, and to truly be able to do what I've been able to do. And what I've been able to do is not because I'm smarter than anybody else. I just created some very cool systems that allowed us to create some very good momentum, excellent momentum, right from day one. And we've been able to leverage that over the last 11 years. So you've got to be positioned at the forefront. Use the whole concept of goal activators and rethink everything that in what you're doing right now and the specific actionable steps that you need to be taking. And as I just summarize here, just a couple of concepts then. How awakened coaching is different. Most other coaching programs are just, you get maybe a flunky You listen to a coach that they've hired out at $35, $50 an hour. You're just hearing words. You're going through recordings and all that kind of stuff. Our mentoring is based on the research of Edgar Dale, and accelerated learning and accelerated quantum leap happens by doing dramatic, well, in the words of Edgar Dale, doing dramatic presentations, simulating the real experience and doing the real thing. So my clients like this. Why? Because it takes them out of their comatose-like state and what they're doing. And we focus on a whole new plan of execution and focus. And this is what we call the power of R, or results. So focusing on building a front end, back end at an accelerated rate, and then to the exponent, what we call R. Okay. And I'm not going to go through that formula here, but everything we do is with our clients is accelerate at an accelerated rate. And our threefold mantra with our clients is newer and faster conversations. Second mantra, entrepreneurs must have a base of loyal customers who are willing to pay a premium price. It's even better if these people become advocates, thereby creating a large, loyal, and vocal unpaid sales force. And that is a quote from Marcus Buckingham and Kurt Kaufman, 2 New York Times bestselling authors. And the third principle of accelerated acceleration is you've got to be close to the source of momentum. In other words, success doesn't come in a book. It doesn't come through a home study program. It doesn't come by listening to others. It comes by assistance and execution, by doing what you're currently not doing, what you're not focusing on, and getting the assistance with focus and execution. Please take these concepts, take these principles, please make them yours. And I look forward to our next Business Breakthrough Google Hangout together.